Hello everybody, Mr. Storm here. Welcome back to Factorio. In the last episode, we set up our production line for silver plate. Got that all smelted and running pretty well, as you can see. And then we began working on setting up the smelting line for aluminum. And to do that, we needed to bring up some saline water that we were going to need to electrolyze for the purpose of making sodium hydroxide. We're also going to be making chlorine gas and hydrogen gas. I'm not sure we're going to need that. Actually, I think we are. For the gold smelting. But we'll get to that point. So what we'll probably end up doing is tanking the hydrogen and the chlorine and then setting up overflow vents for it to flare that off to keep it rolling. But I'm pretty sure we're going to need it. If I remember correctly. So what I think we're going to do is I'm just going to continue this pipe. I kind of stopped it here thinking that I might do the electrolysis over here. But I decided that we are going to do the electrolysis a bit further along. If I can fit this pipe through here. Alright. And we're going to bring the saline water up that way. And we're going to go ahead and clear some trees. We have a swamp tree. Might as well grab that. Let's clear all these trees. Clear all these trees. Clear those trees. And then I'm going to have to find ways of disposing of all of this raw wood. Now, did that just destroy that swamp tree? I believe it did. Okay. That is something I'm going to have to keep note of. And one thing we are going to have to do here at some point is start messing around with the Angel's bioprocessing. So I haven't done any of that yet. And I'm not 100% familiar with how it all works. We'll probably play around with that once all of this smelting is done. Well, I still have a lot of other things to do. I need to make green circuits, and I want to start getting some sort of logistics. The roboports and logistics robots, that sort of stuff, up and running. So it may be a little bit yet. All right, but enough of that. Let's go ahead and get our 4 and 5. That should work. We're going to be electrolyzing this. There we go. And yeah, we can bring that in there, that in there, that in there, that in there. Then we can connect all you guys up. Oh, and I still need to remember to set up more solar panels. Because the accumulators are not charging enough. Oh, I ran out of poles. No matter, they're easy enough to just hand make. No need to go running around to make them. Okay, so one of the things we need to do here is I'm actually going to use the... Oh. Well, that was a slight miscalculation, but that's okay. Bring that through there. We don't need blue belt for that, but it's what I got on me. I don't want to use up the red belt. Alright, and we're going to need a... Hold on. We're going to need that to come out there. That ought to do, actually. These are all going the right way. Okay. And I'm going to use just a steel chest. I know it looks a little goofy, but it should work. Alright, and we're going to need two tanks. Let's grab 2 tanks. And where am I going to put the tanks? Might be best to put the tanks over here. Let's go ahead and clear some more of these trees. Clear some more of these trees. Alright, we're going to want one of these for chlorine, one for hydrogen. And I guess we'll just take the chlorine. Now, I don't know if we can, like... I know there's, like, enhanced ammunition and weapons. I don't know if we could eventually use the chlorine to make, like, chlorine gas weapons. I don't know. But we're going to end up just venting chlorine gas into the atmosphere, and that just sounds like a really, really environmentally conscious thing to do, you know? There's no potential, you know, consequences of that at all. Alright, there we go. And then we will stick the overflow valves. Yeah, stick the overflow valves over here. And we're going to need flare stacks. Do I have any flare stacks on me? No, I don't. I'll make a couple. Where did those overflow valves go? I always lose them. Okay. Yep, just let that fill up, and then once it hits the 80%, then I'll just start dumping it off. Alright, so there we are. And we're starting to build up the sodium hydroxide. Alright, perfect. So, now what we need to do is we need to begin processing the aluminum itself. And I've already made most of everything that we're going to need. So processed aluminum. Only 16 stack inserters? Well, actually, we have 20-some. We're probably going to need to pick up more. Let's go ahead and just put that in there manually. And then we are gonna do this. Put on the other side of the belt just to make sure we're getting the most capacity. And then we're going to need to put that into powder mixers. Seven of them. And actually, I think I might use blue belts for these. Alright, so powder mixers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. That is a lot of powder mixers. And actually, what I might go ahead and do is make all of these blue belts, even though I don't think we're actually producing in enough capacity. To really warrant it, but go ahead and do it anyway. And each of these is going to need 2 inserters. Yeah. I was thinking if I could figure a way to, like, put them both in the same belt, but I don't know if we'll have enough capacity for that. So this is fine. And then we'll just go ahead and make one of the inserters long. There we go. And then you guys are going to be making aluminum hydroxide. Perfect. What is the volume of aluminum hydroxide we're going to be making? 13.4. Okay, so that's enough for a yellow belt, so a red belt should be more than sufficient. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get some more inserters because we're going to need them. Silver plate, you know what, I'm just going to grab some of those. And while I am working on this, we're going to need, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that uses those. Okay, so let me just go ahead and take those solar panels out, and then I'm going to convert them into the improved solar panel. What was I doing? I was getting some inserters. That's what I was doing. There we go. Might as well grab 100 of them. And we did finish the Automation 4, and I've been working on Automation 5. You probably already noticed that. And we just finished the Automation 5. Let's see. Character logistics slots. We're going to need that at some point. Portable panel 3. We can't really make it yet. You know what? Let's go ahead and knock out some of this stuff. Yeah, let's just knock out some of that stuff. Okay. Install some lights. And I should have probably grabbed some poles while I was over there. But that's okay. And then what we're going to do is you're going to offset near. You're going to offset near. And you're going to offset near. There we go. And then we're going to need to turn this stuff into alumina. And then the alumina goes into 2 of these guys to turn into ingots. I actually want some of the alumina to be stored because we use that for other things. Let's see, is the ratio 1-to-1? The ratio is 1-to-1. Okay, so we can direct insert. But... okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up here. So we're going to have two of these guys. And they're going to direct insert to 2 more of them. I'm going to use 2 inserters to do the insertion. I'm going to actually have one of them. So let's actually do it over here. I think one should be sufficient. Going to put a box over here and limit it. So once that fills up, then this will be at full capacity. We just need fuel. We just need fuel for all of this. So here is... there's the fuel. Alright. At some point, we are going to stress this production, but so far, so good. Alright, copy, paste. Copy, paste. Pick up the excess guys there. There we go. That lined up perfectly. Almost like I planned it. Alright, and you guys are going to be making alumina. You're going to be making alumina. And then you guys are going to be making ingots from alumina. But you're going to need carbon to do that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to route some carbon on this line. And it's going to get... it's going to get absorbed. That's what's going to happen. Alright. Oh, this has also got coke on it. Alright. Let me see what I can do here. There was something I was just thinking about. That we should prioritize, and I completely forgot what it was. Coolant. Geode crystallization. Interesting. Bioplastics. See, we definitely don't need paper making, we don't need base processing, we don't need water bore, we don't need a Petrochem train. But I'm going to go ahead and grab that tree arboretum. Alright. Now, whatever this was doing, we wanted to continue to do, we're going to want this split. Oh, that's going to be bad. Actually, that's perfect. Let's do it like this. And it'll be a little weird, but it should work. I'm going to have to disconnect this temporarily. We are going to take this splitter, right? And I am going to output priority to the left, carbon. Hopefully we don't need the coke for anything. We'll have to like split off or something. We'll figure it out if we need coke for anything. We're gonna take the carbon off there. All right, so we get just carbon there. Then we put that back. Perfect. And it just takes carbon. We're going to have to figure out how to make more carbon, but I think we'll be okay. Alright, so there's carbon. And it's getting there. Good. Why is this backed up? What's the problem? Oh, ingots. Ingots is the problem. Right. Okay. And then here, what we're gonna do is this. Where's that blue inserter? There it is. Okay. So that we need to get the coke in there. So what you are gonna do is you're gonna pick up and drop. Just like that. See, works beautifully. There we go. Okay, so ingots. Ingots are now being directed from 2 furnaces into 3 induction furnaces, and I may be able to do... let's see. Can I do... direct insertion? It's gonna be a little bit odd, but it should actually work. Save myself some belts. Yeah. And you're gonna be making molten aluminum. There we go. And then I'm going to be taking molten aluminum and putting it in a plastic pipe, because that seems like a great idea. Alright, nobody has any power. But we can take care of that. There, and there. Oh, there. Perfect. We'll use my nice inline Petrochem tank to tank the aluminum. And then we're going to need 7 of these strand casting machines, and they need water as an input to serve as a coolant, like normal basic water, which we should have access to here. Perfect. All right. Alright, temperature arboretum is done. Let's see. Electronics assembling machines. We might as well grab those. Oh, can't get through there? Okay. Let's go ahead and clear out some trees, get ourselves some room. Oh, actually, one thing that I did forget to do is put my solar panels back. There we go. Okay. So I think that is the... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we can probably just do this all in a line. 5, 6, and 7. And you guys are making aluminum sheet coils. Yep. And how many of those are we making per second? 3.4. Okay. No problem. A yellow belt would work. Red belt is more than sufficient. Do I want to go with the pump? Yeah, why not? We'll go with the pump. Okay, so this one's going to be a bit weird, but it should work. Alright. Tank's almost full. Good. How are we doing for alumina? We have 300 alumina stored there. So that's very good. Just for me to grab and use if I need it. And now what? We need the water. Right, we need water. So we are going to link onto there. Oh. Looking at where I want to go rather than looking where my character is. There we go. Okay, and then we'll need to route. Actually, we can route the water. Oh, can we actually bring it that far? We can bring it that far. And that is... perfect. Then make sure that everybody is hooked up. What's... rock. Yep, that works. Okay. And then we need the 2 assembly machines. 2 assembly machines to turn the sheet coils into plates. And that is there. And is that, yeah, that is capacity enough for a yellow belt, but we're using red, so we should have more than enough room. And then we're going to go ahead and take a loader and dump that into a silo. Just like that. And install some lights just so that I can see what's going on. Yep, and these guys should be able to process this way faster than these guys can make it. So they will get through that. And there we go. Aluminum plate. Perfect. We don't need that either. All right. So we have silver, we have aluminum. Let's see. Silicon. It's nickel, lead, silver, tin, cobalt. Let's see, we need cobalt, zinc, and cobalt, zinc, gold, and titanium. So I guess cobalt's going to be next. Interestingly, cobalt plate is not used for anything. So all we really need is to get cobalt to ingots. So we just want cobalt ingots. They're going to need carbon. Okay, that's actually fine. Let's scale that for a full belt. Let's make sure we got everybody there. And we need cobalt oxide, which chemical. We can actually do the Mark IIIs now because we have no we can't. Never mind. We need brass. We don't have brass set up yet. You know, maybe we're setting up those alloys, but we'll take care of those once we got all the basic metals dealt with. So we'll do the Mark IIs there. Processed cobalt. Right, 2s. Yep, 2s. And we're gonna need limestone. We're gonna need limestone. Interestingly, we're actually making limestone here. We're using it for concrete. We could use the same process. How much limestone do we actually need? Limestone from light mud water. Let me just double check. We do have the Mark IIs. We do have the Mark IIs. Okay. So then we need 3 of those. Yep, 1113 will produce enough limestone to feed this process. Alright. Perfect. Yep, so we should be able to do that easily over here because we have water. That's all we need to make the limestone. And so basically we just suck up the bottom mud, filter it, get the limestone out of it, and start making cobalt ingots. And then what we have is we have an iron process, right? That uses cobalt and nickel. Cobalt ingots and nickel. So when we make the cobalt ingots, oh, and we also can make cobalt steel, which needs cobalt ingots. So we're going to make the cobalt ingots, and then we're going to have to direct a line of cobalt ingots down here to the steel area and the iron area so that we can set up the iron nickel cobalt mixing alloy to increase our, so we can basically get rid of this this line here of silicon ingots and be using silicon exclusively for silicon plate. And then we can convert these to taking nickel and cobalt. And what we have is nickel. Nickel is right there. Right? So then we'll have to run a line of nickel through all of this mess as well. Well, what we might do is like break this line here and then appropriate it to use for nickel. Alright. Electronics assembly machine is done. And it is really kind of bugging me that I can't remember what I wanted to do. Oh well. Ooh, nuclear power. 1,000. But we're not actually making any uranium ore. You know what? Let's get it. And that's going to take a while to research. Can I crystallize uranium? That's going to be here, right? It would be fluorite ore. No. Crystallizing to uranium and fluorite. We can, in fact, make very small quantities of uranium. And then we'll have to take that uranium and we'll have to enrich it or refine it. And even further, which is another process that takes... let's see, it's uranium processing. So when we process 10 uranium ore, we get 0.7% of it as the uranium, which is 235. I can never remember if it's a 235 or the 238 we want. Yes, it's 235 that we want. Because we get the Covarex enrichment process, which creates... you feed it 40 uranium-235 and 5 uranium-238, and it gives you 41 uranium-235 and 2 uranium-238 back. So it's sort of interesting how that all works. And it requires science packs we don't have. So something to look forward to. So I think we'll go ahead and end this episode here. And when we come back, we're going to continue working on smelting stuff. We'll do the cobalt next. We'll bring that up here. And then we will get that turned into ingots. And then we will maybe set up that new iron process and set up the cobalt steel alloy. And we could probably also set up the Invar alloy. Because the Invar alloy requires nickel and steel. Because we'll be bringing nickel down into here, and then we can split the nickel, send some nickel to make iron, and we can use other nickel to make Invar. And we won't need a ton of Invar either, so it should be good there. Alright, so yeah, as I said, we'll stop here, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.